Hey there you guys, welcome back. Today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. We're going to do a review of a product. We're going to test it out and see how it works. So this is a new product. This is the Growcube designed by Elecro, and it's a smart automatic watering system. Can't get that out. I've had to do that several times. So I don't know, my brain just doesn't work for it. So it's kind of a cool system that it takes the automatic watering system that just kind of goes on a schedule, whether it's in the morning or in the evening or once a week or twice a week, it automatically waters. This one here has an app, and it also has sensors that sense the moisture level of the soil and then water appropriately. So this, like I said, this product has an app, and it has a plant database with over 3,000 plants and their care instructions or care needs. I haven't looked at the app yet, so I can't tell you exactly what's in it. I'm just going by what it says on the box. So we'll check that out in a few minutes. This also, like I was saying, it has a moisture sensor. So this kit does up to 4 plants, and each plant will get its own moisture sensor and will get its own watering outlet. So that's really, really cool. A lot of these things, like I said, don't have a moisture sensor, so it just, whether it's wet or dry, it will water the plant regardless. So this one actually knows what it's doing, so you can set the moisture levels to whatever your plant deems appropriate, and it will water accordingly. But again, we'll test that out. And then within the app, it acts like a little database, and it records when it waters and the soil moisture level, so you'll get to see that curve that's going on in the soil, so you can monitor your plants and adjust things accordingly. There is a manual watering section as well, so you can take over it. So it's not just the app doing the thinking. If you see that your plant needs a drink, you can override it and water accordingly. But it's nice to just set it and forget it, especially if you love to go on vacation. So let's get this thing out of the box and set it up, and let's see what it does. So I thought I'd add this in near the beginning of the video. This is actually a Kickstarter item, and it's new. It just became available, so I'll put the link down below for the Kickstarter, and yeah, you go and check it out, see what you think, and yeah, let's get back on with this video. Okay, so I've set up one plant. It took me a little while to connect to my router, which was a little bit frustrating, but I just kept going and going and going. I had to look in the instruction manual, not just follow along with the prompts within the app. So yeah, just stick to it. You'll get it. It's a little bit tough. I did have to email for some support, but before the support got back to me, I did manage to connect it myself. So that out of the way, I've connected one plant. Like I said, I've got the Bengalensis or the Ficus Audrey. This plant here, thought it might be good to have it set up to self-watering, because I water this every week or two. When I put the sensor in here, it actually showed a 0% moisture, which is really low. Sometimes the poor leaves on this start curling under, and yeah, it probably would like a little bit more moisture than that. So it's all set up. I've got the moisture sensor set up in the back here, and I'll actually bring you a little bit closer in a second, so you can see where things are. Actually, let me bring that around right now. Okay, so in this particular situation, the sensor, the moisture sensor, is within here under A, and it's actually a magnetic connection. Hopefully you're able to see that well. And it just connects right in there. And then the airline tubing, which puts the water into the plant, is connected into the A spot down below, as you can see here. So let's move up and we'll look in the plant to see how I've set up the sensor and the airline tubing. Okay, so inside the pot here, we were given 4 of these sensors, moisture meters, and we poke those into the pot. You kind of want to go halfway between the edge of the pot and the plant, and there's actually a line on here. So you want the soil level to be where this line is. You want it to be fully pushed into place, and a tiny little bit sticking up, but right up to the line is where you want the soil level to be. And then we've got the airline tubing that connects to another type of airline tubing. It's an interesting little contraption. This one's really flexible, and it has little holes on the side. I don't know whether you're able to see it, but you maneuver those in so that the holes are facing horizontally and not up and down. Hopefully you can see the little holes on there. If you have them facing up and down, it might spray out of the pot. But if you have them horizontally, they should just hit the soil level and not spray everywhere. It's kind of interesting to watch. And then it comes with a couple of little pegs. I'll show you those in a second because we'll set up a plant in this video. So it comes with a couple of little supports that hold the watering tubing in place. So let's get to it. Let's set up another plant, and we'll look at the watering of this ficus. I had to go into the library and try to find Ficus bengalensis. They didn't have this one, but they did have Ficus elastica, and their care is very similar. So I chose Ficus elastica for this one. So let's go into the app, and I'll show you what I did. So here's my first plant here, and this is the Ficus elastica. And again, this is one that, and it looks like my system is locked. So it's a safety feature if the sensor is erratic or something. So we just pulled it out, and I also unplugged it from the machine. So to unlock it, there is a little button on the side of the machine, the reset button. If you just tap that, it will do its thing. And as you can see, I messed with the water tubing, and when you reset it, it will water just a little bit. So it's sprayed everywhere. So that's why you want to adjust it. So that is reset. It says that my soil moisture is about 18%. I can click on the soil moisture, and we'll get a graph. I've only had this set up for a few days, so today it doesn't show anything. But if I scroll back, you can see that there has been a little bit of moisture happening in the pot. I've had a couple of issues with the sensor where I've had to reset it, so that's why there's some data missing. And as you can see, I've watered the plant a couple of times. That was when I first set it up, and that's down at the bottom here. And you can see the days, and you can also do months. Months will be interesting if you get some more data points going on. But right now, because I've only had it for a few days, I'm under hours and days. So hopefully that makes sense. So it's really interesting. Let's go back to the plant profile. So this is the Ficus elastica. It says that the suitable moisture level for Ficus elastica is 15 to 60% moisture, and the suitable environment temperature is between 50 and 95, and the suitable environment moisture, which is humidity, is between 30 and 85%. At the top, let's back out of here quickly. At the top of your device, it will show that it is at 68% Fahrenheit, or sorry, 68 Fahrenheit, and what is it? I can't read that. The humidity level. The screen record is actually oh, there it is. 58% humidity, and we just heard it go off again. I don't know why it's watering. It's not at its low point. But the soil moisture is at 21%. And if you want to water manually, there is the water manual button. And we'll see here as I press it, I want to make sure that the water doesn't spray all over the house. So we'll tap that, starting manual watering, and I can just adjust the thing there. As you can see, it's watering, and then tap it again to turn it off. There we go. And then we go back into the soil moisture. We'll notice that there's another manual watering point right there. I'm waiting to see when it will do an automatic watering, but it hasn't done that yet because the soil moisture has been pretty good. So anyway, let's get to it. Let's start setting up another plant. So when you get the machine, you're going to get all kinds of airline tubing. You're going to get 4 of these sensors. They're about 3 feet worth of cord for the sensors. So if you're using the sensors, you can keep your plant about 3 feet away from the machine. And then you'll get, remember I was talking about the supports to hold the airline tubing into the plant. So you got a bunch of these supports. And then there's connectors for the airline tubing. There's a bunch of different types. There's the regular inline one, and then there's some of these T ones, or whatever you want to call those. So this one you can branch it off and water multiple pots with the same cord. But with that, you're only working off of one sensor, so it might not be adequate to water all of your stuff with this. It might not be accurate. But if you're using this outside, this might be handy if you've got multiple pots that need a little bit of a sprinkle. So you can mix and match and do what you want. Make this work for you as you'd like it to work. And we've got that other piece of tubing with the holes in it, like I was mentioning. There's holes on either side, and this is what's going to disperse the water. Okay, so first thing, let me put all these things down. I am going to be putting the moisture stuff in, or the self-watering kit into the, what is this one? Rhaphidophora decursiva. I don't expect this one to be in the list, so we'll have to make a new plant profile. So that'll be an interesting thing to do. I have not made my own plant profile yet, so I'm just going to attach. Let's move this guy out of the way. My poor little calathea, the rattlesnake calathea. I want the moisture meter to kind of go halfway between the plant and the pot. There we go. And remember, we want to put the meter up to the line. There we go. And I move this out of the way. Can you see this? Inside this, there's a little press button, and that opens the lid, and you just add water to it as needed. There will be a notification on your phone if you start to get low on water, or you could just fill it up daily or whatever works for you. You can also run airline tubing into it and have the tubing into a bucket, so you can have almost limitless water, which might be an option if you're working outside with it. So this one we're going to put into B. You saw the things in the back, so we're setting this up. The magnets will hold it in place. And then we want to get some airline tubing. We want to get enough to run from the plant to the machine. I'm just going to give it a little bit extra, just in case we want to move the plant around. And also, conveniently enough, we were given a little cutter for airline tubing, so we can cut the airline tubing pretty easily. And then I'm going to attach the airline tubing to the B in the back. Make sure it's all the way pressed in. And then I'm just going to move this to the back. And then we're going to attach the connector to the airline tubing and make sure it's all the way on so it doesn't leak. Easy peasy. Actually, it looks easy, but it can be a little tough, a little tight. And then we want to attach this little watering section. This has a cap on it so that it forms a little bit of pressure and doesn't run just out the end. This one is a little bit more flimsy, so it's harder to get on. There we go. Make sure it's all the way on. And again, we've got the holes on either side. So we want to make sure that the holes are horizontal. I'm going to get these little... It's watering the plant again. How crazy is that? I don't know why. When it waters a small amount at a time, maybe a half a second. And when you put these in, you want to just put it around where the plant is, the base of the plant. Just putting the connectors on. So there we go. And I'm just rotating the tubing so that the holes are facing horizontally. That can be a little bit of time consuming because sometimes they don't want to move the way you want them to. Okay, I think I've got this one good, and we're going to push it down close to the soil, pushing down the little things so that it's not flying all over the place. And there, it looks like we've got the stuff all set up. Now I'm getting another soil moisture sensor abnormality. So this is becoming a hassle. I don't know what's going on. Oh, that might be, no, that's for sensor A. So I'm just going to reseat the sensor into the pot. That is a pet peeve that I've been having, is I've been having to reset all of my sensors. Well, I've only had one, but I've had to reset this one several times because it just stops reading. Now you can see that the soil moisture is at 43%. I don't know what's happening. So yeah, I've only had this for a couple of days, so it hasn't broken in, and I haven't had much time to play with it. I do enjoy looking at the soil moisture levels, and I don't understand why it's still doing its thing. It's still on manual watering. Okay, so let's set up another plant. We'll go to garden down at the bottom. I briefly looked through this to try to find the plants that I'm going to be growing, and most of the stuff is not in here that I would like to get. There's a lot of garden plants and whatnot. And I've noticed that the data on top, let me get something that I can say. Okay, let's look up something that I know. So let's look up pothos. Epipremnum aureum. Oh, this one actually shows the correct data. So let's go back to another one, because that's the first time it showed the correct data. Let's look up Echeveria. Okay, so search, and we'll go to here. Notice how the Echeveria, this Echeveria does not match the plant down in the brief description. So just or brief instruction. So just be wary of that. This is all very, very new, so hopefully they go back and update this. The upper information, the soil moisture, 8 to 50%, the temperature and the humidity, the 15 to 80%, that's all probably very accurate. But the brief instruction is not. It's inaccurate. As you can see, they put the plant name. It's a different type of plant. It's a Dudleya. So just be mindful of that, and use your own judgment when it comes to some of this stuff. So we're into the garden. We'll just look up Rhaphidophora, because what we're going to be growing is a Rhaphidophora. And we'll see there is no Rhaphidophora in there. Let's look up Monstera, because the care for Rhaphidophora is very similar to Monstera. And okay, so Monstera deliciosa says between 15% and 60% water, and 53 to 89% or 59 to 89 Fahrenheit. And what does it say here? As you can see, the brief instruction down on the bottom, it says for mini rows. So that is not the plant that we're growing. So I'm going to make my own profile here. It took me a second to try to figure out this. When you're adding plants, you can't just make up a profile as you're adding the plant. You have to go into the garden part and then go under new. And then you can name your plant. You can only do, I believe it's 12 characters. That'll probably tell me. So we're going to go, what is this one? Rhaphidophora. Maximum 12 characters, so I can't even put that. So let's do Dragon Tail. No, Decursiva. There's Decursiva, and then we'll do Rhaphidophora under science name, as they call it. I wish that you can make them longer because you can't put a Latin name in with 12 characters. And then plant picture. I took a photo of my plant this morning, so we'll go to my camera roll. Oh, let's go back. We'll go into the gallery, and always. So we'll go under here. This is the leaf that came out the other day, so I'm going to put that in my profile. It won't let you do anything unless you have a plant picture in the profile. And we're going to go 15 to 60%. We're going to keep it at that for now, but you can always change that. For outdoor use, this here, avoid watering during sun exposure period. That's great for outdoor plants. Many plants, if you water them during the heat of the day, they can get spotting or whatever. It's also, the water can evaporate really quickly. So if you're doing outdoor gardening, you might want to avoid the watering through sun exposure. I'm going to turn that off because it's houseplants. It doesn't matter when it waters. And I can add some brief instruction. I'm not going to do that right now. I can probably add that later on. And then I'm going to just save. So now, under my self-made, we can see the Rhaphidophora. It doesn't show the common name or the nickname. Anyway, I can also change the temperature. I think the temperature, I didn't see a temperature thing. Anyway, we'll figure it out. This is just basic information on how to set up a plant. And so now I went over to plants, and I'm going to add a plant up at the top. And then we're going to go into slot number B, or letter B, and then next. And then I could go through their list of plants, but we know that Rhaphidophora is not part of it. So I'm going to go under self-made at the top, and we're going to click on Rhaphidophora, and I can change from smart watering, auto watering by monitoring the soil moisture, or I can do regular watering, and you can choose when you want it to be watered, how often you want it to be watered. This is probably better for outdoor plants. Smart watering is probably better for indoor plants. So I'm going to do smart watering, where it's going to use the sensor and water accordingly. Click next, and plant nickname. Let's do Dragon Tail. No, I said Decursiva. There we go. That might be how it all works. Suitable soil. Let's try to get this. Here we go. It doesn't show anything about temperature. Temperature doesn't really matter for me. It's growing indoors. And I can change the suitable moisture level. And yeah, so we're all good. So now we're going to save. It's just going to set up the water line. It just watered a bit, and water didn't come out anywhere. It shows that the soil moisture currently is 14%. It's more than 14%. It's a little bit damp in there. Oh, it's going up as we set up the plant. So interesting. We'll let it do its thing. We will do an update video on this in a month or two when I have more data. But it's going to be fun to experiment with this to see how things go. So all in all, I'm having fun with this new device. It does have some frustrations, like I was showing you in the app. Some of the information is not necessarily accurate, but use your own research and play around with it, and you can adjust the settings accordingly to better suit your environment and your plants. Eventually, I will do a video on how to add an airline tubing into here to water from, say, a bucket or something, because I probably will move this outside to try how it works. It is able to work outside, so it is weatherproof, so that's great. There's two different ways to connect it to to connect your phone to the device. It doesn't work unless you have a phone or some sort of a device that you can download the app to. It only works from the app. You can't set anything up on the machine itself, so that's a downside to it. But you can connect it directly to the unit, or you can have it through your Wi-Fi in your house. I have mine currently connected to the Wi-Fi in the house, but if you're using it outside and you're far away from internet connection, you can connect it directly to the unit. So that can be handy, like I said, if you're using it outside to water some hanging pots or something like that. So yeah, stay tuned for more videos on this. As I learn more and as I find out more frustrations, so far the biggest thing, like I said, is the information in the app. Not necessarily the greatest, but not bad. But it's just very, very new, so hopefully they update that sort of stuff. Another thing that I'm finding frustrating is having to reset the sensors. That's getting quite frustrating. I've had to do this plant. This plant has been connected for, I don't know, 3 days, 4 days, and I've had to reset this a couple of times into the soil. So I don't believe that that's something that I should have to do. I don't know if I have faulty sensors, but yeah, we'll see how time takes this. Maybe I just inserted them incorrectly. And I am seeing that this is putting more water into the pot. I've got some water in the reservoir at the moment. It's been going off as we've been making this video, and it's going off again. It's watering this guy. So I don't know why that's happening. It's probably just getting the moisture levels where they should be initially. It comes on for like a half a second at a time, so it allows the water to soak into the soil. It's not saturating the soil and then water running out the base for the most part. So anyway, stay tuned for more updates on this. I'm really interested to see how this works. I don't know what's going to happen. So anyway, until next time, you guys, happy growing. Oh, and all of the information is below for this product, and it's a Kickstarter, and yeah, I'm just testing it out and seeing how I like it. Anyway, until next time, you guys, happy growing.